The series starts with Sarah, a beautiful and ambitious girl who appears as she's heading to apply for a job at a famous hotel. The manager asks her assistant how she applied when she doesn't have a degree. Sarah apologizes for her mistake and her heel breaks, but she walks in confidently. When the manager finds out that Sarah's hobby is playing the piano, she asks her to play, but there is no piano. Sarah plays in the air and laughs with a beautiful laugh that impresses the manager. At night, her friend mocks her, saying that she's applying for a job without a degree and probably won't get the job. They spend the night together. The next morning, Sarah wakes up to a call telling her she got the job. She can't believe her happiness. She goes to share the good news with her friends who are staying with her. Meanwhile, Nung-hoo is seen jumping out of an airplane with a parachute to land on the rooftop of a hotel where he's supposed to work. But he lands on a different hotel rooftop and is late for his first day. An older employee explains the work rules to him, and the employee is confused about how a regular worker can wear an expensive watch and fancy clothes, unlike the manager who doesn't wear such things, sure that it's probably a knockoff. Nung-hoo starts his first day, not knowing anything. His colleague advises him to be early and not to be late. The older employee asks them to print some papers, but the printer runs out of ink, and the employee tells them what to do, causing the printer to break. The direct manager comes in and blames them for the mistake. Nung-hoo steps in, explaining they were just following orders, and it wasn't their fault. The direct manager tells them to clean up the mess, saying it'll be their last day. Nung-hoo talks to the general manager's secretary and asks for a cleaning company to fix the mess. The secretary arrives quickly and reassures Nung-hoo. Nung-hoo tells him that he would have liked to stay longer, but unfortunately was fired. Everyone is shocked when they find out that Nung-hoo is the son of the hotel owner. Nung-hoo returns to tell the employee that he's going to work with him and that he'll be his assistant. Nung-hoo sits with his father and tells him that he still has a lot to learn and that it's better for him to go abroad to study. When they leave, Nung-hoo says he won't stay at the company or their house because they belong to his sister, and she'll support him financially. Nung-hoo returns to stay at their hotel. The next day is Sarah's first day of work, and she's happy to be working at King Hotel, which she visited as a child with her mother. Manager Sarah introduces all the trainees to the nature of the work and the way to deal with customers, telling them that the most important thing is to smile at the client. An older employee tells her that her beauty doesn't matter at work and that she has a month at most before she leaves because she won't be able to handle the job. Sarah asks if she's always smiling while cleaning the gym. The receptionist, who's always laughing, tells her she'll never see him at that time. Meanwhile, Nung-hoo continues his work and watches as Sarah buys clothes. The saleswoman tells him that the t-shirt he likes is only available in 3 pieces, and one has already been sold. He buys the other 2, not because he needs them, but so no one else can wear the same one. He tells his colleague to prepare for a trip to America soon. When Sarah sees him, she mistakenly thinks he's the son of the manager. In another scene, a wealthy, corrupt man sees Sarah and becomes interested in her, sending her a letter with money and some inappropriate words. The employee tells her that he wore a t-shirt with a tiger on it. Later, Nung-hoo wears the same t-shirt and gets angry when a mistake happens. He's still confused when Sarah's sister, Hara, arrives and tells him he's not allowed to raise his voice in their hotel or he'll be fired. Hara meets Sarah, asks her a few questions, and Sarah answers fluently. Hara then asks to be placed at the reception. She's shocked when she's told that Sarah is a new hire. Hara says Sarah has a beautiful laugh and appearance, and the receptionist is the face of the hotel. Manager Sarah gets upset, but Sarah answers the questions as if she had prepared for them, speaking several languages. She says she was ready for this day. A few years pass, and Sarah becomes an exemplary employee, training new staff on how to handle clients. Meanwhile, Nung-hoo travels, learns, and gets a master's degree. After a long time, he decides he needs to return to Korea. When he arrives, his father welcomes him, but his sister Hara is worried about his return to work. When she asks why he came back, he says he's there to rest and wants to take over his father's hotel. His father agrees and asks him to return and stay with them at home before the anniversary of his mother's death. Nung-hoo responds, saying that he doesn't have a mother and doesn't even know who she is. His father gets angry at his words. The next day, Nung-hoo goes to the hotel, wanting to learn everything, with Sang, his only friend. He meets Sarah at the hotel, and immediately he remembers that she had scolded him before, although he hadn't done anything to her. Sarah recalls the incident and says that what she did was because of his words, and she won't apologize. She tries to leave, but Nung-hoo quickly follows her to the elevator and tells her that he'll go first. Later, she silently says to herself that he must have his mother's blood. Meanwhile, Sang talks to the manager and asks to go out, and the manager agrees. Later, Nung-hoo's manager introduces him at a welcome party. Nung-hoo is surprised when he sees the real Nung-hoo, and the corrupt man wonders what he's doing there. Nung-hoo introduces himself to everyone, but he's too shy to speak because of the way they look at him and laugh, which he dislikes. His role is to present flowers, and Sarah hides her face while handing them to him. When he sees her, he says that they will work together a lot in the coming days. They then talk, and he asks her about the situation where she scolded him. Sarah starts explaining, and Nung-hoo tells her that nothing happened and that the story was a lie. He says that anyone wearing a t-shirt with a tiger on it could be Nung-hoo, adding that she's cute, but not his type. She apologizes to him and tries to smile, even though she dislikes him, but he tells her that she doesn't need to fake her smile. She thanks him and apologizes, and Sang plays along. He suggests to the manager that they choose a restaurant, but the manager scolds him when she realizes that he isn't Nung-hoo. Sang insists that Sarah should organize the party for the hotel owner and his guests. When Sarah attends, she's impressed by the place and the food. Nung-hoo's father thanks his business partners for supporting Nung-hoo. Sarah applauds because she doesn't know what's going on. Later, when Nung-hoo's father finds out that Sarah is the best employee, he asks her to speak. Nung-hoo says his speech and announces that he will run King Hotel without any fake smiles. Afterwards, Sarah receives a gift, the most expensive part of a tuna fish, but she leaves without anyone noticing. She calls her grandmother, but she says she's too busy. Suddenly, the bus crashes, and Sarah realizes that the most expensive part of the fish was actually the fish head. She and her friends don't know what to do until their crazy third friend arrives and handles it, and they all enjoy the most expensive meal they've ever had. The next day, a famous actress arrives at the hotel, booking a room and wanting a bigger one for no money in exchange for promoting the hotel. Sarah refuses, saying that the hotel doesn't accept that kind of offer. When the actress loudly disrespects her, Nung-hoo arrives and tells Sarah that she has been working at the hotel for 7 years and doesn't know how to handle people like this. He asks the security to kick the actress out. Later, Nung-hoo asks Sarah why she didn't handle the actress, implying that she's just being bossed around. She says that customers are always right, and it's the hotel's policy, but Nung-hoo surprises her, telling her he chose her to conduct a TV interview promoting the hotel, and she'll be the host. Sarah, frustrated, asks if there's no one else at the hotel, but he insists. At night, her boyfriend walks her until her feet hurt, and they hang a lock symbolizing their love. But Sarah's father, being clever, throws the lock away and leaves the key behind. She feels like it's a sign, and later, the key falls again, feeling like another sign. The next day, at a reunion with her friends, Sarah finds her boyfriend sitting with the other girls, leaving her upset. The next day, they are at the airport for the interview, and Nung-hoo notices her. When the bag hits his head, Nung-hoo asks Sarah to handle it, and she gets annoyed, telling him that she's just an employee at the hotel. Nung-hoo asks the man to carry the bag and put it in the taxi. Once they leave the airport, Nung-hoo's car is waiting for them, and he tells them to get a taxi while he prepares for the interview. Sarah looks her best, while Nung-hoo dresses up, changes his hairstyle, and applies gel. The interview starts, and the first question asks if it's true that he looks like his mother. Nung-hoo hears the question and gets angry, unable to breathe, feeling exhausted. Sarah tries to save the situation by changing the subject to lighten the mood. Wong returns and takes a look at the question, finding most of them centered around his mother. Frustrated, he throws the paper away and tells her to ask questions she truly wants to know the answer. She says she loves sunsets, and he replies, "Come watch one with me, so you'll know how to ask better questions." They watch the sunset together, and later she tells Wong that she hasn't done anything wrong to him, but every time he gets her involved, it creates trouble, which could lead to her losing her job. She reminds him that as the owner's son, nothing would happen to him. Wong responds, "Do you realize the impact of the question you asked today?" The next day, they're at a photo shoot, and the photographer asks Wong to smile. Wong's expression remains stiff as he poses for several pictures. Sa teases him for not knowing how to smile, and he gets irritated, forcing a fake laugh. The photographer reassures him that they can fix it in Photoshop. Wong then takes photos holding a small fish to showcase the hotel's claim that all their food is fresh, but he throws the fish away, out of boredom. On their way back, the boat breaks down. The driver tells them they can't continue the trip and directs them to a small island where they can stay at a nearby hotel while repairs are made. During their journey, Wong feels scared and clings to Sa, who mocks him for being afraid. To prove her wrong, he walks ahead and encounters an old woman, fainting out of fear. When he wakes up, he finds himself in a strange place surrounded by statues. He panics and runs until he sees Sue, finally feeling reassured. The old woman teases him, saying there's nothing scary about the place and mentioning how his wife carried him all the way there. Both Wong and Sa quickly deny being in a relationship, breathing a sigh of relief. That night, they challenge each other to see who can drink more, but the alcohol clouds their judgment. Sa vents her frustrations, saying she feels like a servant working only for him. Wong retorts that every time she gets involved, she ruins things with her fake smiles. She calls him arrogant and pretentious, and they both let out everything they've been holding in. They eventually go to sleep in separate rooms, but wake up to discover they're in the same room, separated by a thin partition. An old man gives Wong a bicycle and encourages him to explore the island with his wife. Wong asks Sa to join him, but she refuses until she realizes the distance and reluctantly agrees. They take a ride together, enjoying the sights. When they return, the old woman shocks them with an expensive bill. Wong only has his credit card, but luckily the boat driver arrives and reveals himself as the old woman's son. Sa realizes it was all a scam. The boat wasn't broken at all. She negotiates the bill down to half and pays from her own pocket. Wong admires her quick thinking. On the way back, Sa apologizes for the interview question, saying she didn't know it would hurt him. She admits that the look in his eyes made it clear it was a sensitive subject. Wong thanks her for her kind words. When they return, Wong finds his father furious about him leaving the interview due to a question about his mother. Wong argues that actions don't matter as long as the results are good. He tells his father he wants to know the truth about what happened to his mother, but his father walks away without answering. Later, Wong warns Sa not to provoke him again, reminding her of the time she called him worthless and implied he wouldn't amount to anything. Back at work, Sa is welcomed by her colleagues, who are thrilled to see her. Wong's father personally visits her, praising her handling of the interview and her intelligence. He decides to promote her to the Hall of Happy Moments, which seems to be a prestigious position. Meanwhile, Wong finds himself daydreaming about Sa's photos and smiling at her beauty. His friend interrupts his moment, dragging him back to work. Wong takes an online test to figure out if he has feelings for the person on his mind. The result confirms that he likes Sa. Determined, he sets out to talk to her, but is surprised when Sa's ex-boyfriend shows up to reconcile with her. This discovery leaves Wong heartbroken. He watches them from afar, dejected as the ex apologizes and admits he was wrong. Sa tells him they should find a quiet place to talk, but the ex dismisses her, saying he has a big event with his friends and no time to spare. Sa explodes with anger, insults him, and storms off. Meanwhile, Wong, overcome with jealousy, throws away the gift he brought for Sa. He meets a traffic officer who shares his own romantic struggles. They commiserate about their broken hearts. Sa, still upset, visits her grandmother, who advises her to focus on her happiness. When Sa reveals that she broke up with her boyfriend, her grandmother assures her it was for the best, adding that he was the real loser in the relationship. On the business side, Wong's father meets with a competitor who boasts about his hotel outperforming the King Hotel in revenue. Bond gathers his children and tells them that the revenue of the hotel must increase and return to its former glory. He emphasizes that they must prove themselves and work together, declaring that he will leave the inheritance to the one who proves to be the most dedicated and gives the most to the company and the hotel. A new manager arrives to show Sa around her new role in the Moments of Joy Lounge, warmly introducing her to the space and explaining her responsibilities. She mentions that this lounge caters to the wealthiest guests, whose payments alone can rival the total spending of other hotel guests. Later, they head over to greet Wong as she has officially joined as a new employee, but Wong coldly ignores her. When Seng notices, he teasingly asks Wong why he's treating her like that, joking that he might like her. Wong, flustered, gets defensive, denying any feelings for Sa. Seng brushes it off, amused by Wong's reaction, but he can't help thinking that Wong might indeed like her. Sa meets her colleagues, but they seem resentful and jealous of her quick appointment, as she doesn't hold the same qualifications they had to work hard for. Determined to succeed, Sa starts exploring every corner of the hotel to find ways to increase revenue, as per Bond's orders. Meanwhile, Hara, tasked with improving operations, aggressively dismisses underperformers. Seng keeps Wong updated on everything, and Wong volunteers to oversee the Moments of Joy team to avoid dealing with Hara. During one of the meetings, Wong can't stop staring at Sa, clearly captivated by her. After the meeting, he finds himself thinking about her all night and even sends her a message, which she doesn't notice. The next day, he approaches her at work, mentioning that he tried to contact her and asking to meet after work to discuss something. When she suggests he ask now, he hesitantly invites her to dinner, claiming it's to repay her for the island dinner. Sa refuses, but Wong persists. Frustrated, she still declines, prompting Wong to vent to Sang, who misunderstands and invites the entire team to what Wong had hoped would be a private dinner. At the dinner, Wong notices Sa isn't eating and orders food specifically for her, making her feel uncomfortable. Outside, she confronts him, saying his excessive kindness puts her in awkward situations. Wong explains he just wants to help her, but Sa retorts that he doesn't understand how people feel, living in a bubble of privilege as a rich man. She asks him to treat her like any other employee. Conflicted, Wong asks Sang if he comes across as someone disconnected from people's feelings. Sang laughs, agreeing, and playfully mocks him for finding someone brave enough to tell him the truth. That same night, Sang tells Wong it's Sa's birthday. When Sa leaves work, her ex-boyfriend is waiting to reconcile, but she firmly rejects him, saying she no longer loves him. Overwhelmed, she begins crying. Wong appears and, seeing her tears, sarcastically remarks, "So you can cry after all." She tries to leave, but Wong insists on driving her home. Despite her protests, he convinces her and she falls asleep on the way. When she wakes up, she finds Wong has bought her clothes to change into because hers were wet, mentioning he plans to take her to a birthday meal. Sa notices the clothes are the same color as Wong's outfit, and someone passing by mistakes them for a couple and takes a picture. Sa corrects them, saying they're just co-workers, but she thanks Wong for the thoughtful gesture. She curiously asks how he got her size right, even for the shoes. Wong casually claims it was a lucky guess, though in reality, he had gone to great lengths to figure it out. At the restaurant, they enjoy a meal together. Sa tries to pay, but Wong insists, saying it's for her birthday. Later, Wong gives her a birthday gift as well. However, Sa's ex reappears, accusing her of leaving him for another man. Sa firmly tells him to leave or she'll call the police. Wong intervenes, sarcastically telling the ex, "Wow, forcing love now? You're relentless." Wong firmly warns him to back off, ensuring Sa's safety. The next day, Sa's friends notice her new clothes and interrogate her. They tease her about her boss buying her expensive gifts, suggesting he must like her. One of them advises Sa to make him fall for her, but Sa brushes it off. Meanwhile, Wong looks through pictures of him and Sa from the restaurant, lost in thought. Sang catches him and snatches the phone, teasing him about how they even dressed alike, declaring, "You're totally in love with her." Fong is thrown out, and Sa calls Wong to ask if he's free because she needs him, but he says he's busy. However, he adds that he'll always make time for her. Later in the evening, they meet, and she gives him a gift to thank him for what he did on her birthday. Then she tells him she has to leave because she's busy. Wong responds, "I'm free forever and I'm hungry. Let's eat." She takes him to a popular local restaurant of her choice. They have to wait for a while to get in. Wong tries some sugarcane juice and is blown away by how delicious it is. He's fascinated by the chef's entertaining way of presenting the food and enjoys himself immensely. While laughing, Sa says, "Oh, so you actually know how to laugh like everyone else." The next day, Wong asks for extra tasks from the Happy Moments Hall. Meanwhile, Sa's older colleagues assign her the most challenging task, delivering a gift from the hotel to a man who lives in the mountain, as a way to encourage him to do business with the hotel again. This man supplies rare flowers to the hotel. Wong overhears this by chance and is both shocked and deeply concerned for Sa's safety. Sa arrives at the man's house but finds only his wife. She refuses to leave the gift with her, insisting she must deliver it directly to the man. The man is currently out gathering flowers in the mountains. Determined, Sa gears up and sets off to find him. Unfortunately, the weather takes a turn for the worse. Wong calls her to check in and tells her to come back and leave the gift, but Sa falls from a high place, loses consciousness, and doesn't answer Wong's calls. Wong panics, realizing something terrible might have happened. He tells Sang that Sa is in danger and needs to be rescued immediately. Wong insists on using a helicopter, despite Sang warning him that it's impossible in such weather and that Ha-Ra controls everything. Wong bursts into a company meeting and pleads with Ha-Ra to approve the helicopter. When she refuses, Wong defies orders and takes the helicopter at his own risk. Sang tries to stop him, even lying down in front of the helicopter. But Wong says, "Lie down quickly, I don't have time." Wong arrives at Sa's location, but the helicopter has to leave due to the worsening weather. Sa sees him and can't believe her eyes. She bursts into tears and tells him, "I felt like I wasn't going to make it back." She asks how they'll get out, but Wong, who has no plan, simply says he's here to rescue her because he was so worried. He contacts a rescue team, but they won't arrive until morning. As they sit scared and cold, they hear someone approaching. Both scream in fear, but it turns out to be the man from the mountains who heard about a missing girl and came to help. The farmer laughs at Wong and teases him, saying, "Since when do men get this scared?" Wong tells Sa they'll go to the hospital in the morning, but she insists she has to get back to work. Wong tells her, "Don't risk your life for work." He promises he won't let anyone else face such danger again for the sake of the job. The next morning, Sa tries to convince the farmer to work with the hotel, but he refuses. Before leaving, Sa presents him with a rare flower as a gift. The farmer is so impressed by her generosity that he agrees to work with the hotel. Sang arrives in a car to pick them up. Wong sits in the back and asks Sa to sit with him, but she chooses to sit in the front with Sang. As Sang jokes around with Sa, Wong becomes visibly annoyed. They stop to get food, and Wong insists on driving this time, forcing Sa to sit in the back with Sang again. Wong grows increasingly irritated by the two chatting and joking. Eventually, Sang asks to stop for a bathroom break. Wong uses this opportunity to tell Sang that they'll leave without him, and drives Sa to her grandmother's house. There, Sa gives her grandmother the rare flower as a gift, and helps her with the work at her small restaurant. Sa's grandmother notices Wong watching Sa from a distance and invites him in, introducing him as Sa's colleague. She then asks Wong to help with the restaurant and teaches him how to peel onions. When Sa arrives, she finds that Wong has made a mess of the onions and apologizes to her grandmother. Afterward, Sa and Wong go for a walk around the market, where Wong enjoys the local street food and feels happy. Back at her grandmother's house, Wong brings her flowers as a gift. Her grandmother jokingly says, "Why bring flowers? You should have brought something edible instead." But after tasting the food Wong had earlier, the grandmother is impressed and gives him money for his onion peeling efforts. She also gives Sa money, advising her to take care of herself and the clumsy young man with her. Wong drives Sa home and asks her to go on a date with him. She agrees immediately. The next day, there's a birthday party at the hotel for the daughter of a wealthy businessman. Wong arrives with Sang and a large gift. The birthday girl is delighted to see Wong and says, "So when are we getting married?" Wong looks around and sees Sa carrying the gift, looking upset. Later, Sa leaves, visibly hurt, and tells Sang, "Why did he ask me out if he's interested in someone else?" She goes home feeling sad and dejected. Her friends try to cheer her up by throwing a crazy little party at their house. The doorbell rings, and it's Wong. Sa introduces him to her friends, who quickly figure out he's her colleague. One of her friends jokes, "Good luck with your boss. We heard you have a strict and arrogant manager who's impossible to deal with." Sa's friend tells her, No, he's very sweet and kind." Wong tells her friends that they should leave him alone with Sa for a bit. He tells her that he's worried about her and saw that she was tired, so he brought her every kind of medicine because he wasn't sure exactly what was wrong. Sa asks him who was hugging her at the party, and he assures her that it was just a friend and that there's nothing between them. She asks, "Why would a friend hug you? Or is hugging just something you do with anyone?" He promises that he will be more careful and not do anything to upset her again, because she looks like she's changing. The next day, Hara records an account of the incident that happened to Sa and asks her to join a press conference. Hara tries to claim that the rescue operation was her and the hotel's doing, but Sa insists that it was Wong who saved her. Hara threatens her, and Sa agrees. However, before the conference ends, after Hara says everything she wants, Sa adds that she would like to thank Wong for personally coming to her aid. Wong is there and hears everything, feeling utterly defeated. Later, Wong's father informs him that an Arab manager is coming to Korea and that he must stay at their hotel to bring more prestige to the hotel. Wong challenges Hara, telling her that he'll make sure the prince stays at their hotel. The next day, Wong's father meets with the owner of another hotel, who tells him that the Arab prince stayed at their hotel and was extremely pleased. Then, Wong's father receives a call informing him that the prince canceled his booking at the other hotel and instead booked a room at theirs. Wong was the one who convinced the prince and promised to be his personal servant throughout his stay. When the prince arrives, everyone is waiting for him, and Wong is his driver, while Sa is his guide during his stay and outings. When the prince's stay ends, he promises to return because of their great treatment. Later, Sa's friend finds herself in a difficult situation and asks Sa to help her sell products to meet her work target. They go to a spa, eat sweets, and sell beauty products to older women. During this time, issues arise between Wong and Hara because Wong starts focusing on the hotel to please his father. Hara tells him, "No matter what you do, you'll always be inferior." Wong responds that he doesn't care about her and just wants to protect the hotel and its employees from her. Hara replies, Anyone who tries to help others will lose themselves. You'll never be like those who fight for themselves only. Wong calls Sa to ask where she is and goes straight to her. Sa's friends invite him to a game of boiled eggs, and he eats without much interest. Sa jokes, "Are you here to see me or just eat? Enough with the eggs, it's starting to change your personality." Later, Sa's friends pull Wong aside and ask him, "Are you interested in Sa? Why haven't you told her yet?" He responds, "Do I have to say it? It's something that can be understood, right?" He says he should speak up before anyone else takes her away. He later asks Sa to go out with him at the end of the week for a little fun and to tell her something important. They go out to a beautiful restaurant where they're the only ones there. Wong personally prepares the food and watches her eat. When she asks what the important thing he wants to say is, he takes her outside and finally admits he likes her, loves her, and wants her to be by his side always. The next day, they take the elevator together and laugh. Sang, who is nearby, is surprised to see them laughing, as it's out of the ordinary for them. Wong leaves his work to spend the whole day with Sa at her job. Sa gets frustrated and tells him that the employees can't focus on their work because of him. After much insistence, he finally agrees to leave. He goes to his father and tells Ha-ra that he's ready to take full responsibility for the hotel and can fulfill all her requests. Ha-ra is irritated. Later, Sa goes to Wong to try to make amends, but he's upset because she didn't believe him, so he refuses to forgive her. Sa, now feeling guilty for making him upset, wants him to make things right because she's upset as well. The next day, Ha-ra's assistant visits Sa and tells her that Wong's greatest weapon is his father's love because he wants to help him no matter how many times he fails. Ha-ra tells him that she has prepared a big surprise for Wong. The following day, Wong takes flowers and visits Sa's grandmother, but the grandmother is terrified and faints. Wong rushes her to the hospital, worried. When the grandmother wakes up, she reassures Wong that nothing is wrong. However, Wong insists on having a full checkup done, and the results show that she has health problems. The grandmother admits that she knows Wong likes Sa, as it's clear from his face. Sa arrives anxious and crying, but her grandmother reassures her that she's fine. She scolds Wong for knowing Sa and sending her to the hospital. They return home and Wong apologizes to Sa, telling her he wants to see her right away because he feels like she doesn't share the same feelings. Sa apologizes for yelling at him and promises to be kinder to him. Wong says that this is the first time he has confessed his love to her, and she didn't respond. He repeats his confession, and Sa finally admits she feels the same way. They sleep at her grandmother's house, each keeping a respectful distance from the other since they're both polite. The next day, the grandmother takes Wong with her on a few errands. At first, Wong sits with the grandmother's friends, and each of them chats with him, asking him various questions. They also talk about Sa and find out that Wong doesn't have a home of his own. The grandmother then asks Wong about Sa, like what she likes to eat. Wong isn't sure, so the grandmother says, "My dear, this is the first topic that couples talk about on WhatsApp." Afterward, the grandmother goes to the bank, opens an account for Wong, deposits a small amount of money, and tells him that, from now on, he should save in this account with Sa, so they can use it for their wedding. Wong is overjoyed by the grandmother's gesture and her happiness for him. He then takes her home, and on the way, he asks her about her favorite color and food. When they arrive, Sa's friends show up, and when they see Wong, he's forced to stay with them. Sa's friends are upset because after all their hard work, they didn't receive their bonuses, and other employees went in their place on the recreational trip because their boss demanded it. Wong gets really upset and tells them how unfair this is and that he will personally oversee this issue. Sa's friends wish Wong were the manager, but Sa tells them that he's a terrible person and doesn't care about anyone. Sa quickly corrects herself, saying, No, he used to be that way, but not anymore." The next day, Wong asks Sang to organize a trip for the best employees, and he gives him the names of Sa's friends. Sa and the three of them will also be going. They all meet at the airport, and Wong is there waiting for them. It's a surprise when Sang appears, and Wong calls him manager. Wong catches up with them and informs Sa's friends that Sang is the department manager and responsible for the trip. Sang understands and plays along, thinking this is his big chance. They board the plane, and Sang ends up sitting next to Sa. Wong approaches and says to Sang, "You don't belong here, you're the manager. You should sit in VIP." He takes Sang to his place, sits next to Sa, and when she asks why he left his comfortable seat, he replies, "Everything is worth it for you, my beautiful." They arrive at their accommodation and the three girls share a room, while Sang and Wong share another room. The day starts and the whole team enjoys every moment, raising the trip's motto, "Enjoy to the fullest." Wong sends a message to Sa to sneak out with her, but they don't want their friends to find out. Our heroes try to keep their relationship secret, getting closer in private. That night, they pretend to be asleep until their friends fall asleep, and they sneak out quietly to spend time alone together for the first time. Sa expresses her happiness about the trip, and Wong tells her that they will travel again, but next time, it will just be the two of them. He promises that he will fill her life with happiness and joy. The next day, they wake up early, go sightseeing, and take photos everywhere. Later, Wong grabs her hand, and they run, with people around them surprised. Wong then realizes that he was holding Sung's hand and running with him. He feels awkward and embarrassed, wondering how he looked while running with a man's hand in his. They sit down to eat together, and their friend, who is Sa's friend as well, notices Wong's fondness for him and joins them. Sang suggests that they all sleep together, and the friend agrees, saying he won't mind and might even sleep on the floor. Wong is annoyed but doesn't have a choice. The next day, Sa and Wong wake up early again and manage to escape from their friends to spend the day together, exploring various places. Sa stops in front of the moon and makes a wish. When Wong asks her about it, she tells him that she used to be afraid of wishing for something that might not come true, but now she's in the happiest days of her life. Wong tells her that his life hasn't been as happy as it appears to others. He shares that when he was young, his mother left him, and he never knew why. Whenever he asked about her, no one would answer, and he didn't know whether his mother had reasons for leaving him or if it was her choice. Sa thanks him for entering her life and asks why he didn't make a wish. He tells her that her being with him is the best wish he could ever have. The next day marks the end of the trip, and Wong tells the team that he has a surprise for them. They find out that he has booked them seats in VIP class on the plane. The trip ends, and everyone returns to their work. Sa buys a gift for the manager and the other employees, thanking them for thinking of them while on the trip. Wong brings work papers and sits next to Sa's work area. Sa tells him that this is not a place for work, but he responds that he has a lot of work to do and couldn't see her, so he decided to keep her in front of him while he works. They agree to meet after work. Wong meets with Hare to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the hotel's establishment. Hare tells him that important figures will be giving speeches at the event. Wong assures her that the party is his responsibility and he will take care of it. Afterward, he checks on the chefs to ensure the quality of the food, giving them his opinion, and then heads to the hotel gate. An older hotel employee requests to sit with him, checking on his health and asking about the other employees who have been working there for a long time. Meanwhile, all the employees are busy preparing for the party, and Wong is impressed by the organization and order. After work, Wong surprises Sa and tells her she's strong now. She jokes, saying, "I'm a boxer. Would you like to try?" But then they reconcile, only to be interrupted by more hotel employees approaching them. They quickly escape and board a bus, but it turns out to be the hotel bus, filled with other employees. Sa tells Wong, "This is a bus for the employees, and that's the coach, and over there is the driver. Let's get off quickly." They laugh at their embarrassment. Later, Sa suggests that Wong ask the hotel doorman about his mother, in case he knows anything. He agrees, but says he's not sure if he can. The next day, Wong visits Sa's grandmother, bringing many gifts of all kinds. Sa's grandmother is impressed by Wong's manners and taste, and that he always asks about her. She advises him to always stay close to Sa, as she had a sad childhood after losing her mother. Wong promises to make Sa happy and be by her side. He thanks the grandmother for raising Sa to be such a beautiful and well-balanced person. At that moment, Sa asks the hotel doorman about an employee who worked there long ago. He tells her that he doesn't know anything about her, but he's sure an old employee will know. Sa immediately goes to her. However, the old employee is upset that Sa entered without permission and kicks her out before she can say anything. The next day is the anniversary party, and everyone is extremely nervous, including Sung. But Wong handles everything confidently. The party begins, and he starts his speech by thanking all the staff, expressing his appreciation for their work. Then, he introduces his father, who gives his speech and welcomes the guests. Afterward, the distinguished guests take their turn, and Hara is prepared to speak as a senior official. But the shock comes when Wong introduces an unknown man instead. The man introduces himself as the son of an old hotel employee and reveals that his father was Wong's assistant and had spent his childhood in the hotel's yard while it was still under construction. The man had always dreamed of working at the King's Hotel, but is now a guest of honor, thanking Wong for making him feel important on such a special night. Wong's father arrives and Wong greets him, saying that he had been searching for him and his family. He invites him to the hotel anytime without charge. Afterward, Wong calls the hotel doorman and an older maintenance worker to honor them, revealing that they are the unsung heroes in the hotel's success story. The vice president is annoyed and tells Hara that she made a huge mistake, vowing that he won't stay quiet about it. The party ends, and Wong's father is overjoyed, but Hara interrupts him, saying that Wong needs to handle things. She warns him that the hotel doesn't belong to them alone, and they can't ruin it. We then move to Wong and Sa, who plan to go out together after the party. They return home, cook together, and everything feels perfect. On the same day, Sa's friends and Wong's friends gather at their house and start questioning their relationship. They hold a sort of trial, asking about the nature of their relationship and why they're hiding it. Wong introduces himself and reveals his true identity. He tells them that he is the hotel manager and works for the company. They laugh at first, thinking he's lying, but once they confirm the information, their attitude towards him changes. They apologize and start treating him with respect, but Wong asks them to continue treating him like a regular person and just be friends. When Wong leaves, Sa will talk to her friends and they ask her what she likes about him. She tells them that he's the person she had always dreamed of and who is always by her side, caring for her. The next day, Hara gathers the staff and tells them they must be on her side. During the meeting, Hara suggests reducing the number of employees and cutting incentives, but Wong rejects the idea. He finds that everyone supports Hara, so Wong's father gives them a deadline to find a better solution. Afterward, Hara meets with the vice president to fix things with him, and Sa supervises their request. The vice president is upset and takes his anger out on Sa, insulting her. Hara tells the manager, Sa, that she will fire her, but Wong intervenes and says no one will be fired. He reminds them that they are employees of the hotel, not paper to be discarded, and teaches them some respect. The vice president gets even angrier and leaves. Hara tells Wong that he has lost the vice president for the sake of an employee, but Wong assures her that Sa is more than just an employee, and that he will protect the staff as long as he is in charge. Hara warns him that they'll find out what Sa really is. Wong tells the manager that the priority is to respect the employee's rights, and she apologizes for her earlier actions. The other employees tell Sa that the real mistake was made by the vice president, calling him a scumbag, and the whole team starts to get closer to Sa after learning how kind and hardworking she is. As the day ends, it starts to rain, and everyone heads home. Wong drops Sa off at her house. Meanwhile, Hara sits with Sang and asks him to work with her on a project, but Wong asks her what the compensation would be. The next day, Sa goes to visit the old employee again to inquire about Wong's mother. The employee tells her that Wong's mother was her friend, a beautiful and brave woman. Sa asks to meet Wong, and when he arrives, he's overjoyed that she's the one requesting to meet him. They sit by the sea, and Sa shows him a photo of his mother, the first time Wong has seen it. She explains that she got it from an old employee and advises him to search for his mother and make the most of the time he has with her before it's too late. Wong, moved by the photo, breaks down in tears. The next day, Sa is assigned a new task to work at Wong's father's house for a special event for the general manager, and only the best employees are chosen for this. Sa is unsure of the task's nature. An employee there explains the rules to her. When Sa enters, she's shocked to find Wong sitting with Yuri, his birthday girl, and overhears Wong's father saying that they need to set a date for Yuri and Wong's wedding. Sa is stunned and drops the plate she's holding. Wong quickly comforts her and helps her, but then he tells her that he is rejecting the relationship with Yuri and that he loves another woman. Yuri says she respects his love, but in the end, they must get married. Later, Sa goes upstairs to find a young boy there, and they sit together. The boy is introverted. Sa soon discovers that he is Hara's son, and the day ends. Sa realizes that the money she earned from that day's work is more than her entire monthly salary. Wong stands outside Sa's house trying to call her and reach out, but she doesn't respond. Then the police arrive, see him, and he explains his situation. They sympathize with him and they sit together, resolving the issue. Wong goes to Sa's work and asks why she hasn't been responding to his calls. She tells him that she was exhausted and had fallen asleep. He assures her that he will wait for her at their restaurant. When he arrives there, the chef asks him why he's upset, wondering if Sa ignored him. The chef says he felt sorry for him. Sa finally arrives, and they sit in silence. Wong tells her that what he heard from her father would never happen, and that he loves her. He assures her that she can do anything except leave him or break up with him. Sa says she never thought of leaving him, but she knows that her father will be an obstacle in their relationship. As Hara decides to reject the employees, Wong shocks everyone by saying that they will make profits they never dreamed of, and they will open branches in many countries around the world. Wong's father is pleased and agrees to the proposal immediately, even making Wong in charge of everything in the hotel. Hara becomes furious and promises her assistant that she won't let this situation slide. Later, Wong visits the old employee, and she tells him that she was waiting for him. When she reveals all the secrets to him, he becomes upset and reacts strangely. He calls Sa and asks to meet her because he's feeling sad, and they spend the night together. However, someone takes pictures of them while they're together. The next day, the news of their romantic affair reaches Wong's father, and he uses money to try to suppress it. But Hara has already outpaced him, paying even more to escalate the situation. The employees see the news, but luckily, the picture doesn't show Sa's face clearly. One of the employees comments that the picture looks like Sa, but it can't possibly be her, as she's not Wong's girlfriend. Sa is worried when she goes to Wong, but he reassures her, apologizing for causing her embarrassment. Then Sang enters and tells Wong that they're in trouble, suggesting that Hara is the one behind the photos. Sang recalls the past between him and Hara, explaining that she tried to recruit him into her plans, but he rejected her. That night, another photo leaks, this time showing a clear image of Salma's face, and Hara watches with glee, knowing the chaos she's causing. Sa's friends advise her not to look at the photos or read the comments. The next day at work, everyone talks about how she's ruined the director's reputation, and they envy her. The director asks her how she let herself fall for Wong, and just as she's about to respond, Wong arrives, declaring that he was the one who flirted with her and made her fall in love. He tells the others to treat her with respect because she is the hotel director's girlfriend, and her colleagues support her, wanting her to relax since she's likely feeling anxious and overwhelmed due to the scandal. Wong assures them there's no scandal and that he and Sa love each other. He asks them to take care of her and look out for her, and everyone celebrates their relationship. Meanwhile, Hara is with senior employees, trying to oppose Wong's promotion. Wong's father enters, telling Hara he knows what she's thinking, and that she was the one behind the scandal. He didn't expect her to go so far against her brother, and he orders her to resign from any position in the hotel. Meanwhile, our protagonist visits Sa's grandmother to reassure her, and the grandmother's friends are happy to see Wong, especially after they used to mock her about him. The next day, Wong's father takes his lunch and Sa serves him. He asks her to sit with him and orders her to take a break and think about separating from Wong, as it will be difficult for them to be together, especially with the situation at the hotel. He advises her to distance herself from the hotel. Sa sits, pondering what to do, but then Wong arrives, telling her he wants to spend the night with her before he leaves for a 3-week work trip. They enjoy their evening together before Wong leaves. They exchange messages while he's away, and Sa arrives at her new job where she meets the employee she first met on her first day at work. The employee tells her that the place is for the outcasts and rejects. Sa takes on her new job, but with no other options, she does what she used to do, smile. Wong returns from his trip, planning to surprise Sa by visiting her workplace. However, when he asks about her, he's shocked to find out that she's not there, as she's been reassigned to another hotel branch. Wong is visibly upset. At that moment, the long-awaited character, Wong's mother, appears. She confronts Wong's father, telling him she can't bear to see her son's life ruined like theirs was. She reveals that she knows he got rid of Sa the same way he discarded her in the past. She threatens that there will be danger if anyone interferes with her son's life, and she blames Wong's father for not helping or supporting her. As she leaves, she vows to destroy everything if anyone comes near her son's life. Later, she meets with Wong, and when they sit together, she explains the reasons for her escape. Wong tells her that he knows everything and that he's never hated her. His mother apologizes for everything she's done, and Wong expresses his hope for her to have a happy life. Afterward, he goes outside and cries, but then returns, hugs her, and tells her how much he missed her. The next day, Sa learns that the branch she's been reassigned to will soon go bankrupt. They will have to move to their home, and she suggests to the manager that they should improve their situation. However, the manager speaks to her harshly. Later, Wong arrives and meets Sa, asking her how she's been managing without him. He apologizes for leaving her for so long and tells her that they should leave together. She just needs to tell him she has work, and then he enters to help her finish her tasks. She responds that she really liked the place here, and after touring the area, she wants to stay for another week to help her colleagues since the hotel is going to be sold soon and they'll lose their jobs. Wong stays with her during her workdays, and they explore the area together, enjoying their time. At dinner that evening, she meets the hotel's small manager and learns that Ha-Ra was the one who ordered the sale of the hotel. Wong says he will buy it and transform it into a major tourist attraction. He then fires the manager. A female employee at the hotel wants Sa to stay with them and competes with her for Wong's attention, but Sa decides to return with Wong. Her friends in Sangji arrive at the small hotel to visit her, but find out that she has left with Wong. The hotel manager and Wong's father arrive, and when Ha-Ra meets them, she tells Wong's father that he hasn't won yet. She warns him that no one can take anything from her. Later, Wong goes to buy an expensive ring and prepares to propose to Sa. When he sits down with her, he waits for the right moment to confess his love, but to his surprise, she tells him she wants to end their relationship. Wong is shocked and asks her what she means, and she explains that she's talking about her work relationship at the hotel. She plans to start her own business, and Wong supports her decision, though he quietly tells himself that it's not the right time for his proposal. The next day, Sa goes to Wong's father to invite him for lunch, thank him for his help, and inform him of her decision. She says goodbye to her colleagues at the hotel, and everyone is sad to see her go. She packs her things and leaves the hotel. As she steps out, she finds a car waiting for her, and Wong gets out to wish her happiness in her new job. Wong becomes the new hotel manager with his mind set on progress. He continues to grow, never forgetting his friend Sang, who is promoted to department head. Sang regrets not accepting Ha-Ra's offer and is eventually fired. Meanwhile, Sa is looking for a small house to turn into a hotel. She finally finds one and celebrates with her friends. When her grandmother finds out, she gives her all the money she had saved to help with the new start. Sa begins preparing the house, while Wong's family, including Ha-Ra's son, returns to America. Wong learns that the child is forced to travel, and he tries to talk to Ha-Ra, advising her to care more about her son and the people who love her, and let go of the bitterness in her heart. Ha-Ra, while dropping her son off at the airport, hears Wong's words and realizes her mistakes. She takes her son and returns to help Sa with her hotel. But on the first day, no one books any rooms, as the hotel is still just a room. At the end of the day, Wong visits as a guest, and he and Sa talk together all night. In the morning, he helps her with her work. Every night, he finds an excuse to be with her, until she asks him to rest, as she searches for a new employee. Many people apply for the job, but Wong also applies, saying that he needs the money because he is barely managing a famous hotel. He asks her to hire him, and eventually he proposes to her. She agrees, and they finally get married. The wedding is a joyous occasion with both of their families coming together. Ha-Ra seems like a new version of herself, and Wong's father asks Wong's mother to join him for a cappuccino. The newlywed couple walks into the wedding, lighting up the darkness. And that's it. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Check out more recaps you'll absolutely love right here.